Speaks TV. I'm your host, Andrea, bringing you commentary you can use. So I'm coming live to you all tonight. I'm coming live to you with some Monday night news. So as you come in, say hello. Let me know that you're tuned in. Thank you all so much for your support. Make sure if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe. Also hit the notification bell so that whenever I do go live, you'll get the message and you can tune in. So tonight, y'all, you all know right here on the channel, I bring you commentary you can use. Thank you all so much for your support. I have the opportunity to go back and read the comments and the feedback that you leave right here on the videos on the channel. And I even read your emails. So thank you all again so much for your support. I appreciate each and every one of you. So tonight, y'all, while I have a little time, I wanted to come live and talk about some current events going on right here in the news. So whether you're watching in the U.S. or if you're watching internationally, I want to say welcome. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I appreciate your support. So one of the topics that I want to talk about tonight, you all heard me mention this. Actually, I've talked about robots before. If you haven't watched the video, make sure you go and check it out, where I was talking about robots. Could that be a solution to the labor shortage? So you all make sure you check out the channel. Right, as a matter of fact, right here on the channel, I have over 80 videos, y'all. 80 videos, commentary, and information that you can use. So if this is your first time tuning in, again, thank you. I appreciate your support. Welcome. Hello to everyone who is watching now live, or if you're watching by replay, I again want to say thank you so much for your support. All right, y'all. So one of the topics that I thought was kind of interesting, concerning, it really has me asking some questions. Maybe you know, or maybe you don't know, but currently in the news, I ran across an article just the other day, and believe it or not, y'all, they have created what is called living robots. They're called Xenebots. Have you all heard of that? Let me know in the chat if you have heard of that. Xenobot. You can do some research. The way you spell it is Xenobot. Okay, Xenobot. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. And so they are supposed to be, according to this information that I'm reading on CNN, according to CNN, Xenobots are supposed to be the world's first living robots. Okay, now don't that sound crazy, y'all? Living robots. What do y'all think about that? Living robots. Yes, you heard me correctly. And at first I thought, okay, I must be reading something wrong. Like, what is this about? So I'm gonna give y'all some information. This information came out, it says November 29th. This is on the CNN website. And let me see if I can scroll down and get some information. Hello. Thank you all so much for your support. Let me see. I'm going to have to refresh the screen here. But I just want to read this to y'all and get your thoughts and get your opinion. All right, I'm going to have to refresh my screen here. Hold on, y'all. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so again, y'all, I am coming to you live now talking about the fact that there's something called a Xenobot, and they're saying that we have living robots now. How does that sound, y'all? The term living robot. Doesn't that sound crazy? So I want to read some information that I came across on CNN, and I want to have a discussion and talk about what is the purpose behind this. So you all know a lot of things are going on in the news, and as a matter of fact, a lot of times, as I share, you all know I shared right here on the channel in my first video the reason why I created the channel is because there's so much information, so much is happening in the world, so many things are going on that a lot of times it's hard to look past a lot of the information that is being shared and say, okay, what is it that I really need to know about what's going on? And as you all know, just like I know, it seems like, you know, in so many ways, it seems like the world is changing, right? Do you feel like that? Is it like that in your area? You know, it seems like I've talked about this before. It just seems like there are agendas being pushed, and for whatever reason, things that may not normally be accepted by society as a whole, like, for lack of a better phrase, it seems like now certain things are being pushed to be more accepted. So this is some concerning news, and I want to share this information with you. Let's see. For some reason, I was looking at this earlier, y'all, but some reason, as soon as I go live, as soon as I go live, now the article doesn't want to pull up. Okay, hold on. Let me see what I need to do here. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Thank you for your patience. I appreciate you all. Okay, now, according to CNN, it says the world's first living robots can now reproduce, and that's according to scientists. Okay, let me see, y'all. Bear with me. Let's see. I think it has something to do with, I don't know. I think it's saying something about the memory. On this laptop that I'm using, so bear with me. I'm trying to fix it, y'all. Let's see. And while you're waiting, let me know if there are some specific topics that you would like to see covered right here on the channel. You all let me know. Let me know if you have any topics. Is there anything going on that you know about that we need to talk about here on the channel? You all let me know. Thank you all so much for your patience. I'm just having to fix something on my computer. And then we will get started. Comment below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. All right. Hello. All right. Alabama is in the house. All right. Thank you so much for your support, Alabama. All right, y'all. We're on here talking about, and hey, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you subscribe so that whenever I do go live with news and information, you'll be one of the first people to know. Right here on the channel, I'm building a community of people just like you and I who are concerned about the times we're living in, and we're looking for factual information. We're seeking truth, and we want real solutions, so that we can know what's going on, and not only know about what's going on, but make a plan to be prepared and protect ourselves, our families, our loved ones, and to sustain the times that we're currently living in. All right, so let me try something else, y'all. Again, thank you so much. This is kind of an impromptu live. Didn't really have anything planned. I was just sitting here looking at some information. I said, you know what? Let me go live and share this because people need to know what's going on. Okay, hello, all the way out to California. Okay, I'm on the East Coast. And so I appreciate you all so much for tuning in. Okay. A lot has been going on. I've been reading about in the state of California. Those of you all who are subscribers, you know that I've talked about the water shortages. out in California. I've covered the wildfires that were going on. So let me know if you're uh, watching from California. Let me know, how are things currently in the state of California? Are you still experiencing water shortages? I know one time I reported on the fact that there were water restrictions. I'm even seeing more recently, lately, even last week, to where they were talking about um, the fact that there was how do I want to describe it? A lot of like looting or something like that going on in the state of California. And then not to leave out, but also it seems like California is one of the states who is definitely supporting, um, you know, not so, well, supporting, but also pushing getting the thing. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's go ahead and let me see. I just had to delete a few things from my computer. All right. So those of you who are watching now live, have you heard about Xenebots? Have you heard the term Xenobot? Xenobot. Xenobots. Xenobot. Do you know what that is? Have you heard about it? Okay, so exactly. So this is something I didn't hear about it until just a few days ago. But again, the purpose of my channel is to make sure that I can share information with you, things that we need to know, things that we need to know about this going on that may somehow affect us or affect something that we're doing in our daily lives. We just need to know what's going on, y'all. So, according to CNN, this information comes from CNN, and the title of the article says the world's first living robots can now reproduce. Okay, listen to this, y'all. Doesn't it sound crazy? Now, on the channel, we've talked about the fact that robots were being used by some businesses to help address issues related to being short staffed, being more, I guess, efficient when it comes to, making food or whatever the service is. And so now, for example, in one of my videos right here on the channel, you can go back and look at it. But they talked about one of the restaurants being White Castle, who was using robots to flip burgers. Robots were, I think, frying French fries, different things like that. So now, and there are definitely many reports that more and more businesses are ordering robots, and it makes me ask the question. Okay, well, we go in stores like, for example, Walmart, even in Target and grocery stores, and we see the self checkout, but it really makes me ask the question, are some companies, like, is there a plan somewhere or somehow to replace human labor with robot labor? What are your thoughts on that? So when I saw this article and I made the connection with everything that I had already been seeing, I said, wait a minute, it's something going on behind this. So I want to bring you all some information. Okay. So again, the title of the article from CNN says the world's first living robots can now reproduce. Y'all. Okay. So the U.S. scientists, this is according to the article in CNN, the U.S. scientists who created the first living robots say the life forms. Now they're calling this life forms. Life forms, y'all. The life forms known as Xenobots can now reproduce. Okay. And it says in a way not seen in plants and animals. So they're taking something that they call a Xenobot, which is supposed to be, and I quote, a living robot. And they're saying that these things can reproduce. And then they say not only can they reproduce, but the article, and I'll go back and pin the link to the article in the comments, but they're saying that these living robots, okay, living robots can reproduce. Not only can they reproduce, but they can reproduce in a way not seen in plants and animals. Now, y'all, this is factual information. This is news from CNN. And when I did a little more research, I found out that they were actually working on this last year before the pandemic. But we're gonna get to that, y'all. If you're finding this information, if you're like, Andrea, I had no idea, this sounds interesting, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel right here on Andrea Speaks TV. We're a community of people, and we're concerned about the times we're living in, and we want to know, okay, what exactly is going on here? What do we need to know? How, in what ways is the world changing? And what do we need to do to adapt or say, hey, we're not going for it? What's going on? Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. Just coming live. This is very impromptu, wasn't planned at all. And as I was sitting here looking at some news, I said, wait a minute, I need to talk about the fact that scientists somewhere have created living robots. And according to the article on CNN, I'll go back and post it in the comments. They're saying that these robots can reproduce, and in a way not seen in plants and animals. Isn't that something, y'all? That sounds crazy, right? Someone shared robots taking over low-skilled jobs shouldn't scare anyone. Think about it. Someone is going to have to maintain these robots. It'll probably create more jobs for robot technicians. That's something to think about, right? That's a good point. Okay. All right. Now, so how, you may be wondering, okay, how did these robots, living robots, come about? Now, they were formed. Listen to this, y'all, because I told you when I did some more research to see, okay, where did this come from? When I did some more research, I found out that they were working on this in 2020, y'all, before the pandemic. Listen, according to CNN, it says, formed from the stem cells of the African clawed frog, y'all. Yes, formed from the stem cells of the African clawed frog, okay, from which it takes its name. So apparently, I guess the scientific name is of the African clawed frog is called Xenebots laevis. Okay, you all can look that up. Again, I'm gonna pin the article that I'm referring to in the comments a little bit later. But formed from the stem cells. So apparently this is stem cell, somehow tied in with stem cell research. Formed from the stem cells of the African clawed frog, from which it takes its name. Xenobots. Have you all ever heard of Xenobots? Xenobots are less than a millimeter wide. The tiny blobs, okay, they are described as tiny blobs, were first unveiled in 2020. I just said that, right? After experiments showed that they could move, work together in groups, and self-heal. Now, wait a minute, y'all. Does that concern anyone? You know, I'm not trying to tell you how to feel, okay? I'm just sharing the information with you. But scientists are now creating a form of life, I guess, you know, that's what they are, referred to. They're creating a form of life, and it can reproduce. They're saying it can reproduce in a way not seen in plants and animals. These things can move. They can work together in groups and self-heal. That don't sound crazy to y'all? All right, let me keep reading. Okay. All right. The article says, now the scientists that developed them, listen to this, y'all. The scientists that developed them at the University of Vermont, Tufts University, and Harvard University's Weiss Institute for Biologically Inspired Engineering said they have discovered an entirely new form of biological reproduction different from any animal or plant known to science. Okay, here's a quote from a professor of biology and director of the Allen Discovery Center at Tufts University, who was co-lead author of the new research. Now, he was quoted as saying, "I was astounded by it." All right, he went on to say that frogs have a way of reproducing that they normally use, but when you, and then he says, liberate the cells from the rest of the embryo and you give them a chance to figure out how to be in a new environment, not only do they figure out a new way to move, but they also figure out apparently a new way to reproduce. Now, this is telling me that someone somewhere, I'm assuming last year, because this is when it was introduced, so maybe they've been working on this for years now and we just didn't know about it. So someone somewhere sat down, or some people somewhere sat down and said, you know what, let's create a new form of life. I'm just trying to understand the logic behind this. Let's create a new form of life using stem cells from a frog. Follow me, y'all. Using stem cells from a frog. Let's see what happens. Okay. They're saying now, it appears, based on what I just read in the article, it appears that they themselves, the scientists, the people who co-led this research, this new research, they're even shocked by the results. And that's, to me, that's concerning, because it's almost like, hey, you sat down with a plan to do something, but you didn't know exactly how it would turn out. So to me, that's concerning, because it's almost like, okay, we're going to try this, but we don't really know what we're creating, or we don't know the extent of the power of what we're creating. Does that make sense, y'all? It's just a lot of questions that I have about this, but let's keep reading. Okay. Now, the article goes on to say, now the next section of the article says, is it a robot or an organism? Okay. Stem cells, the article says, you may say, okay, Andrea, what are stem cells? Stem cells are unspecialized cells that have the ability to develop into different cell types. To make the Xenebots, listen to this, y'all, the researchers scraped living stem cells from frog embryos and left them to incubate. Now this is what they're saying, there's no manipulation of genes involved. Okay. Here's a quote. Most people think of robots as made of metals and ceramics, but it's not so much what a robot is made from, but what it does, which is act on its own on behalf of people. Listen to this, y'all. Okay. That was a quote from someone named Josh Bungard, a computer science professor and robotics expert at the University of Vermont and lead author of the study. Okay. He went on to say, in that way, it's a robot, but it's also clearly an organism made from genetically, and what they're saying, genetically unmodified frog cells. How does this information make y'all feel? Again, I'm going to be going back after the live video. I'm going to share the link to this article. But the fact that, they're able to create what they call a life form, that's just very concerning. Very concerning. So, you all know right here on the channel, we've talked about population. We've talked about how even right here on the channel, I showed you all the video, Innovating to Zero, Bill Gates. If you haven't watched that, make sure you watch that. The video is on YouTube. But again, with what seems like a growing global concern about climate change, it was brought up by Bill Gates himself that, there were just too many people on the earth, billions of people on the earth, and how he outlined 4 areas to address, what he called a climate crisis, climate change. And one of the areas was, he talked about population. So I'm just trying to put 2 and 2 together again. We have the current population of the world, so many billions of people. Now they're creating new life forms. Are they anticipating that humans and these life forms coexist together? Like, what is the plan? What is the purpose behind this? What's really going on? What do you all think about this news? Are they planning on humans and this new life form coexisting together? What is the plan? Okay, let me share some information in the chat. Okay, let's see. Okay, you all were just, some people were just sharing information about maybe the purpose of robots and how it will actually create jobs. Okay, that's something I haven't looked at it from that standpoint, but that is something to consider because someone would have to be able to maintain the robots. Someone shared all those cashiers that were making $12 an hour can then be trained to maintain the robot cashiers and make much more an hour because they now have a trade skill, a win-win. Okay. It's interesting. Someone shared that no interest is expressed in helping humans, but now they're I'm sorry, let me read again. Okay, someone shared it's interesting that no interest is expressed in helping humans, but now there are now living robots being created. It's insane. And someone even shared demonic. Okay. All right. Thank you all so much for sharing your thoughts and comments in the chat. Okay. All right. Thank you. Let me share a little more information, y'all. So they found the Xenobots. Okay. Bungard said they found the Xenobots, which were initially sphere shaped and made from around 3,000 cells, could replicate, but it happened rarely and only in specific circumstances. The Xenobots use, and I quote, kinetic replication, a process that is known to occur at the molecular level, but has never been observed, the article says, before at the scale of whole cells or organisms. Okay. Now, the article goes on to say, with the help of artificial intelligence, the researchers then tested billions of body shapes to make the Xenobots more effective at this type of replication. The supercomputer came up with a C shape that resembled Pac-Man. Okay, you all know Pac-Man, the 1980s video game. Okay, so they're saying that the supercomputer came up with a C shape that resembled Pac-Man. Okay, they found it was able to find, listen to this, y'all. They found it was able to find tiny stem cells in a petri dish, gather hundreds of them inside its mouth, and a few days later, the bundle of cells became new Xenobots. That don't sound crazy to y'all. And even in the article I'm sharing, I wish I was sharing this. You all know how I go live on my when I'm in my normal setup, how I go live and I share my screen, but they actually have some videos. Again, I'm gonna post a link to the article, but they have some videos within the article, and it shows you exactly how this thing is moving and rotating around. Okay. Okay, I see the point that you're making. How robots or machinery, can make things easier in our lives, but I think the concern is that you know, um, in this particular case, with the robots replacing human labor, and I actually had a conversation, somewhat of a debate with someone I know about this. What are you giving up? What costs? Some people may say, you know what, employing more, that sounds crazy, employing robots, but some people may look at it like having robots can save the company money. It's cost effective. You don't the company wouldn't have to pay things like benefits, or, robots, wouldn't necessarily have to, robots, they're not gonna, you don't have to give them benefits like vacation time, things like that. You all know what I'm talking about. But then at the same time, it's so many other problems that could occur just from simply using robots. For example, I mentioned the fact that if you have a robot who's cooking food or serving food, um, and this is a simple illustration, but how do you know, is the robot going to be able to detect if there is some type of foreign object in the food that somehow got there? Are they going to be able to see that and throw it away and cook a new one, or make sure the area around them is clean? You all know how things like flies and things like that can somehow get in the restaurant and end up in your food. Um, so those are some things, some concerns that I have. When you're talking about robots in businesses like Walmart, um, and I'm saying robots, but I'm really saying self-checkout. It takes away, when you have multiple self-checkouts, yes, it does make it convenient most times for the customers, but then what about the customer service piece of that? What about customer service? You're also taking away you're taking away human interaction. So those are some concerns when it comes to robots and machinery like that. I'm not, saying that anybody should be fearful of robots, but we want to be concerned about that, because we know the pandemic has changed a lot of things. A lot of things are not the same. And so when you hear, or when you get news of, robots being used in businesses, and now all of a sudden new life forms that we're not familiar with at all are being created, you have to just stop and say, wait a minute, what's really going on here? What's the plan? What's the agenda? What's really going on? So let me keep reading. Here's another quote. The AI, artificial intelligence, didn't program these machines in the way we usually think about writing code. It shaped and sculpted and came up with this Pac-Man shape. Okay. It says the Xenebots are very early technology. The Xenebots are very early technology. Think of a 1940s computer and don't yet have any practical applications, the article says. However, this combination of molecular biology and artificial intelligence could potentially be used in a host of tasks in the body and the environment. According to researchers, this may include things like collecting microplastics in the oceans, inspecting root systems, and regenerative medicine. The article says, while the prospect of self-replicating biotechnology could spark concern, okay, I'm bringing in the concern, like what's really going on here. The article says, let me read this again, y'all. While the prospect of self-replicating biotechnology could spark concern, okay, so in the article, they're acknowledging, just like you and I, we have some concerns about this, right? The article says the researchers said that the living machines were entirely contained in a lab and easily extinguished, as they are biodegradable and regulated by ethics experts. What do you all think about that? Okay. The research, listen to this, y'all. The research was partially funded by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, a federal agency that oversees the development of technology for military use. I'm going to read this again, y'all, so you can understand exactly. I want you to hear what I just said, y'all. The research was partially funded. Did y'all hear it? Let me see. Am I able to knock on the... Did y'all just hear what I said? The research, okay? Now, again, many people can say, someone in the chat is sharing that, they feel like in a lot of ways robots are helpful. And they may be. They may very well help make people's jobs easier in whatever industry that they're used in. But in this case, when we have new life form being created, okay, we have a new form of life, what they call it, being created, that can reproduce, unlike anything that they're saying they've seen before. The research, we have to be concerned. That's what I'm saying. We have to stop and say, wait a minute, wait, what's going on here? They want to make us think that, hey, it's going to make things easier. and we'll be able to get the job done. And that may be true, because like I said, y'all, at the end of the day, with these businesses, it's about the bottom line. It's about dollars. Okay, how much time, and money is this going to save? Okay, so and I gotta hop off soon, y'all, because I gotta be getting on the I gotta be driving soon. But listen to this, y'all. This is what I want you to understand. The research I'm reading right here from the article, you'll be able to go back and look at it. The research was partially funded by the defense. Listen to this, y'all. Are y'all listening? Are y'all listening? Are y'all listening? The research, this is according to CNN article. The research was partially funded by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, a federal agency that oversees the development of technology for military use. Yes, I agree. At the end of the day, the companies they want to keep their costs down, and they want to increase profit. But in this case, you and I consumers, those of us who are tuned in, watching now live about a replay, it seems now in this particular case, we're going beyond that. Okay. Um, we're going beyond using robots to help, get costs down and make the job easier. Now we're talking about robots being seen as a form of life, created, able to reproduce, work in groups. And now we're learning that the research, and again, I quote, the research was partially funded by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, a federal agency that oversees the development of technology for military use. So again, we have an organization, we have a federal agency that oversees the development of technology for military use. They partially funded the research that produced what they call this living robot. Are you like me? Are you wondering why they would fund this? Why would they fund something like this? What are they planning to do? Or how are they planning to use these Xenobots? That's the question I have. Okay. All right, y'all. So, let me see. Again, I did see an article where they talked about they were created in 2020. Let me read that, and then I gotta hop off and start driving. Another article I found on CNN says, "Meet the Xenobot, the world's first living self-healing robots created from frog stem cells." And here's a quote. It says, "These are," and I quote, "entirely new life forms." Okay. Again, that comes from University of Vermont, which conducted the research with Tufts University's Allen Discovery Center. Okay, so again, y'all, this is not something that was just created yesterday. One example, and again, I'll share this with you all. It says they have large hind limbs, smaller forelimbs, and even a red heart muscle. Okay. So, I'm not here to convince you whether or not to believe that, I'm not here to convince you whether or not, you think robots are good to use. I just simply want to say, hey, this is what's going on. Not only do we have robots to just be used on the job, but now they're creating new forms of life that they call living robots. And these things, I'm gonna call them things, okay? These things can reproduce. It was partially funded by a federal agency that, I don't want to misquote this. What did it say? Research was partially funded by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, a federal agency that oversees the development of technology for military use. So you have this new life form. Listen, y'all, okay? I want you all to really see what's going on, because a lot of times, like I said, we're conditioned to believe that something is really good, but we don't stop and really think about, okay, when we put all the chips on the table here, what's going on? So again, we have what they're referring to as a new form of life, a living robot that can reproduce, unlike what's seen in plants and animals. That's concerning. Not only do we have that, but what is the purpose? What are these things going to be used for? And then the fact that now we see in the same article that the research was partially funded by the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which the article says is a federal agency that oversees the development of technology for military use. That's concerning. So again, y'all, we got to see what's going on. I'm going to put some links in the comments so you can check it out. Y'all make sure you subscribe to the channel. Share this video. I almost can't believe what I reported on. But again, these are things that are going on, y'all, that are not always front page news. You know, it's not always on the forefront of, topics, things that they want us to know about. But we got to know what's going on. So again, thank you all so much. I'm about to start driving now, so I'm going to go ahead and end the live. You all make sure you subscribe, share this video, and stay tuned as I bring you more information right here on the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to Andrea Speaks TV. Y'all have a good night, and God bless.